From 2001 to 2004, the Philadelphia Eagles were one of the most dominant teams in the NFL. 4 straight NFC Championship appearances, a Hall of Fame coach, a franchise quarterback, a defense that hit harder than anyone. But for all of their dominance, they never brought home a Lombardi Trophy. This is the story of how the 2004 Philadelphia Eagles, one of the greatest teams to never win it all, built a dynasty, fell heartbreakingly short, and left behind a legacy that shaped Philadelphia forever. When Andy Reid took over in 1999, the Eagles were in chaos, but Reid brought order, discipline, structure, and a vision built on the West Coast offense. His first big move, drafting Donovan McNabb out of Syracuse, to the sound of boos from Philly fans. But those boos did not last long. Over the next few years, Reid and McNabb transformed the Eagles into a contender. Brian Dawkins became the emotional heartbeat of the defense, a future Hall of Famer whose hits sent fear across the league. Jeremiah Trotter anchored the middle, while Deuce Staley powered their ground game. And in 2001, defensive coordinator Jim Johnson's blitz-heavy scheme turned Philly into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, a defense that could suffocate anyone. Reid had his system, his quarterback, and his culture. Now he needed the results. In 2001, the Eagles went 11-5 and earned national respect. They beat the Chicago Bears in the divisional round, but fell to the greatest show on turf, Rams, a 29-24 thriller that proved that they belonged among the elite. They entered the postseason as a 20-1 underdog and nearly shocked the world. Then in 2002, Philly was the NFC's top seed at 12-4. McNabb broke his fibula mid-season, but still finished that game throwing 4 touchdowns on one leg. The Eagles hosted the NFC Championship at Veterans Stadium, the final game ever played there. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive and then nothing. Tampa Bay, led by John Gruden and that legendary defense, stunned Philly 27-10. The heartbreak cut deep. Eventually, in 2003, they christened their new stadium and held the same expectations. The Eagles moved into Lincoln Financial Field and still went 12-4 after an 0-2 start. But in the NFC title game, the Carolina Panthers punched them in the mouth. McNabb threw 3 interceptions, all to corner Ricky Manning Jr., before leaving in the third quarter. Carolina's Jake Delhomme barely had to throw. Another crushing home loss. 3 straight NFC championships and 3 straight heartbreaks. Then 2004 would be the season Eagles fans would remember forever. Back when Facebook first launched at Harvard, the legendary sitcom Friends concluded its final season, and Michael Phelps won 6 gold medals at the Athens Olympics. This time the Eagles went as all in as they could. Andy Reid finally gave McNabb a true number 1 receiver in Terrell Owens. Owens changed everything. The Eagles came out on fire, a 7-0 start, 13-3 overall. McNabb threw for nearly 3,900 yards and 31 touchdowns, his best season ever. Owens had 1,200 yards and 14 scores before breaking his leg in Week 15. Even without him, Philly dominated the NFC. They finally broke through, crushing Michael Vick's Falcons in the NFC title game. Super Bowl XXXIX was set. Eagles versus Patriots, Brady, Belichick, dynasty versus destiny. The game was everything Philly dreamed of.
Until it wasn't.
McNabb threw 3 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions. Owens, playing on that broken leg, had 9 catches for 122 yards, one of the gutsiest performances in Super Bowl history. But clock management haunted the Eagles. Long huddles, slow tempo, and a late interception sealed it.
Final score 24-21 Patriots.
So close, and yet again, just short. The next season, everything unraveled. Terrell Owens clashed with coaches and teammates, famously doing sit-ups in his driveway after being suspended. McNabb's injuries piled up, and the team stumbled to 6-10. Over the next few years, they stayed competitive and even reached another NFC Championship in 2008. But the magic of the early 2000s was gone. McNabb was eventually traded to Washington in 2010. Still, that 4-year run remains one of the most consistent stretches in modern NFL history. 4 straight NFC title appearances, something only a handful of teams have ever done. Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb built the foundation of what the Eagles became. The toughness, the culture, the obsession with finally winning it all. Reid would later lift the Lombardi Trophy with Kansas City. Philly finally broke its curse with Nick Foles in 2017 and again with Jalen Hurts in 2024. But it all started here, with a team that almost did it first. For 4 straight years, the Eagles were feared, favored, and always a step away. They didn't win it all, but they gave Philadelphia something just as powerful: belief. Because before the Philly special, before the confetti, there were the 2004 Eagles, the best team to never win a Super Bowl.